So in this video I just wanted to show you how I plant overwintering garlic. In the previous two videos I went through the bed preparation and also the varieties of garlic that I plant in my garden. So in this video we're ready to plant the cloves. Now just to go back over, garlic does like a bit of a firm bed, and if you've just cultivated the bed, some people would just roll it slightly. What I do is I just use this plank. I don't actually have a roller at the moment, so I just kind of gently put my weight, distribute my weight across the bed like that, and I level it out and it firms it up as well. Now for me, I usually plant my garlic through Mypex, so it is important to have sort of a level base because I'm planting through the holes and I just want it to be level when I pin it down on the bed. If you're not using Mypex, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that, but at the same time, if you just prep the bed, it is nice just to firm it down a little bit before you plant. In this bed then, as I had said before in the other videos, I put in some really well composted horse manure, and I also put a top dressing of mushroom compost on it. The bed previously had a brassica in it. I think it had summer broccoli, and they would have been heavy feeders, so I needed to replenish fertility into the bed for the garlic before I plant the garlic. So if you want to come up here just a little bit, I'm going to show you the cloves of garlic. So you know, it depends. There's many different ways to do it, and you can decide on the spacing yourself. Like I would normally try to do them 8 inches apart each way. Some people will do 12 inches between the rows, and it really is up to yourself depending on what system you're using. And because I'm planting through the Mypex, I can get away with 8 inches and I'm not worrying about weeding in between them. Some people, if your ground wasn't that fertile, you could do 10 to 12 inches in the row. So again, it depends on yourself, but I usually go about 8 inches, and I do try to come in from the edge of the bed. Now this, I will use Mypex, so this is my weed control because I'm planting a large area, so I just burn holes in the Mypex, which is a woven fabric. I pin it down with these recycled hangers, so I've cut them and I use those as pins on either side of the bed, and then I'll use some sandbags for additional weights just to keep it down during the winter season. So just getting back to the garlic cloves then, I normally try and pick out the biggest cloves. They'll give you the biggest bulbs eventually, and any really small ones then I would use for cooking. So because this was just prepped, I don't really need to use a dibber, but some people will use a dibber and they'll drop it down and then they'll plant the clove down there. Normally what I do is, it's like I plant the garlic like twice its depth, so you're basically shoving it down that far into the ground, so it's going down probably an inch more over. So I'll just push it down like that, and I want to make sure the top is covered into the soil because sometimes the birds can come along and pick it out. So again, you're just pushing it down like that into the soil, and then you can just pull the soil back over it. So that's normally the way I plant the garlic. And just to note, in between the two beds here, I have just spread some wood chips just for a weed control. And also the width of my bed is just under 1 metre. The Mypex is 1 metre, so the beds, it should have been a little tiny bit wider just to give me a little bit more in the row, but that's normally the in or around the size of the beds that I plant. Now if you don't plant through a Mypex or black plastic, you can also just cover the bed with a mulch. You could use something like straw on top just for weed control later on in the season. So that's just the basics of planting overwintering garlic. And just to say, the ideal time to plant it is from the end of September to the end of October really, but you can, in Ireland you can usually push it out until the first or second week in November depending on the weather, but ideally if you can get it into the ground by mid-October you'll be doing well.